It's HighTechDad, and today we're looking at the 2012 Chevy Volt, and this is an all-electric vehicle. You can actually hear the engine, and what you'll be surprised to hear is that there actually is a gas engine in here. But what you'll be even more surprised to hear is that it doesn't really power the drivetrain. What it does do is charge the huge battery that runs sort of the length of the car. It's about 5 feet long, that goes up the middle section, and maybe about 10% to 15% of the gas engine actually powers the drivetrain, but the rest of it is primarily driven by the electric motor and the battery. So the Volt is a 4-seater. You can see that there are basically 4 bucket seats. In the rear there are 2, and you can see why. This lump that goes up the middle is actually a 5-foot long battery that weighs about 435 pounds. So before I dive into the tech, I just figured I'd show you sort of what the car looks like. So there isn't really a trunk, it's a hatchback, and it's got a flexible cover for everything that you have in your trunk. And I think the main reason for this is to minimize the amount of weight possible in the Volt. So that helps with energy efficiency. So the lighter the car, the more efficient it is. So you can actually hear the Volt gas engine in action right now, and I guess this happens when you open up the hood. But basically on this side is the electric engine. You can see all the cords coming in from the battery, and then this here is the gas engine, which charges the battery and also gives a little bit of power to the drivetrain. So you can hear that now that I closed the hood, the engine is quite a bit quieter, and it's running on the electrical power right now. So let's take a look at some of the tech inside of the 2012 Chevy Volt. So the Volt has a lot of tech going on in here, especially to make this HighTechDad really happy. So you can see there is the speedometer, which has a lot of information going on here. And then you also have a touchscreen display, which is also controlled by these soft touch buttons that you can see here. So these aren't actual buttons, it's just sort of, you can touch them and things change really quickly. So let's take a look at this display first. So what you can see here, these are two important gauges right here. So right now, this is showing my battery, and that I have 27 miles left that I can go on the battery. So the Volt goes maybe 35 miles on a full charge. And then you can see up at the top here is what looks like a little gas icon. And this is actually for the gas engine that will then charge the battery. And the gas is estimated that I can go about 137 miles on the remaining gas. So you also have some controls here that you can scroll around, and as I dial this, you can see here different things. It talks about, you know, my remaining oil life, the charges or the pressure of my tires, and it's important to maintain high fuel efficiency to have your tires properly inflated. So the Volt is monitoring that. Another important gauge that you see over here is this little ball that will actually move based on if you're accelerating or braking. So there is regenerative charging on the brakes. So like as you brake, some new electricity is generated and sent back to the battery. But as you accelerate, obviously this will go up and it won't be as good. Ideally, you want to leave this in the middle position. If you do have navigation going, you can see your turn-by-turn directions right up here. So you can see my current trip settings. So I've gone about 284 miles, and I've been charging every night, and my gas mileage is averaging, and that's a combination of battery and electric, about 59 miles to the gallon. So then you can see now that little ball on the side as I brake will come out of the energy efficiency area, and then ideally you want it right where it is right now, where it's rotating and it's green and happy. So now I'm accelerating, you can see it's using up more battery, so it's coming out of that happy spot, and now it's back in the happy spot. So really as you drive, you can really optimize how efficiently you drive. And you can see also then the remaining miles on battery is about 27 miles and the gas is about 137 miles. Lastly, when you run out of battery here, you'll see this little pump now switch down. This will be blue, and it will show how much gas you have left and the mileage that you can go on the amount of gas you have. So the Volt does have about 149 horsepower, and actually it does have a high amount of torque, which means that you can actually get off the line pretty quickly. You're not going to be burning rubber or anything, but it does have pretty fast acceleration. So if you want to drive in sport mode, you can actually click this button, and you can see up on the screen it'll go into normal, sport, or mountain. And you can notice a significant difference when you're in the sport versus the normal mode. So the Volt does have AM, FM, and XM satellite if you pay for that option. It does also have OnStar, which you can read about at onstar.com. And but some of the more important things here is really around the economy of driving. So you can see here there's a little leaf icon. So if I push on that, we're going to go into the drive details and where the power is. So here you can see a representation of the battery, which goes up the middle of the car. You have your motor in the front and your front and rear wheels. And as you drive, and I'll try and get a shot of this, you can see where the energy is flowing from. If it's flowing from the battery, if it's flowing from a gas engine charging back to the battery, if it's coming from the wheels generating energy back to the battery, that sort of thing. But then there's some other interesting information here. So if I click on the charging, it tells me if I were to charge right now using just standard 120 volt, I would have my charge complete in probably about 2 hours, 2 hours and 15 minutes. And I haven't depleted the battery much, but you can see that's how it is. If I had a 240 volt, it would be done at about 11:45, so 45 minutes for a full charge. And then you can see some of your energy info. So with this one, you can see the energy efficiency in terms of my climate setting and my driving style. While I'm sitting here parked, so my driving style isn't doing anything good or bad. I'm just sitting here actually using the air conditioning and consuming the battery. But when I drive, this will change, and if I'm just being very smooth at my driving, it'll grow a lot higher. And if I set my climate controls to something more economical, this will grow as well. So lastly, in terms of energy usage, you can see here that on my current drive, I've gone 4 miles on battery power. If I were to switch over to gas, this would break up into a pie chart and show me the efficiency that way. So I'm averaging about 150 miles to the gallon using the battery, and this will change, and then sort of the lifetime, it's showing me 50 miles to the gallon sort of combination between gas and battery. So I wanted to show the power flow graphic in action. I'm just sort of driving down a quiet street here, and you can see as I'm braking here, the brake is the power is coming from the wheels, and then as I accelerate, you can see that the battery is now sending the power to the engine, and I can accelerate more, and it'll do that. And then you can see on the screen here, the little ball that I was talking about is in the perfect position actually. So as I said, there is GPS navigation, really easy to use. It's touch screen. You can click a destination button, enter in your wherever you want to go. That's really good. It also does have DVD playback, or you know, a hard drive playback of songs. You can store music on a hard drive. And lastly here is the climate control. So this one is a little bit more confusing for me because I realized that using air conditioning does suck up more battery life and uses more energy. So there's some settings that you should look at here. So for starters, it has auto heated front seats, and it's actually more efficient if it's cold outside to heat up your seats than it is to blow hot air from the system, because you have to use the fan and that sort of thing. So if you have auto front seats and you're cold, it'll automatically choose the most efficient way to heat up your seats. So I usually leave everything on auto, and then there's some settings here. If you don't want your air conditioning on, and this is what it took me a little while to learn, you just turn it to fan only, and then you can see that air conditioning is off. If you want to use the eco mode, this has better, this is a little bit better. It's using air conditioning but not as high powered as the comfort level, which you'll hear it'll kick up the fan a lot more and it's not as efficient. So you can see also down at the bottom, it'll show you the energy efficiency of whatever choice you make. So right now it's at 36, and now on eco mode it's at 24, and if I go to fan only, so it's adjusting real time as well. So these are two buttons that are really important to know about. One of them opens up the charging hub, and one of them opens up the gas tank hub. So you really, if you're just going to be driving around the city and you charge every night, you shouldn't have to even fill the tank. And the Chevy Volt will actually notify you when you do need to actually rotate some of the gas out of your tank if you've been doing electrical purely, because the gas will get stale. But it'll notify you. It's a smart system. And but we've been doing it where we burn off the battery and then move directly to gas pretty quickly. And the transition from gas from electrical to gas is really seamless. You don't see it, you don't feel the difference, and like I said, the acceleration is great, and car is really comfortable to drive, handles well. But anyway, if you want to read more about it, you can visit my website at www.HighTechDad.com, or if you have any questions, you can ask me on Twitter, and I'm at HighTechDad.